This is the story of Bedstemor's house, located in Elkhorn, Iowa. Danish immigrant Jens Otto Christiansen built this house in 1908. Here in Elkhorn, he was considered a bit of a character and was known as Prince Otto because in this farm-centered community, he often wore a coat with tails, a derby or top hat, and a tie. Tall and with a very straight and upright posture, he was both admired and at times made fun of by his fellow citizens. Jens Otto came to the U.S. in 1889 from Ålum, a small town in the west-central Jutland county of Ringkøbing. He was born near here on Christmas Eve of 1863, one of 9 children of a smallholder farmer. After his confirmation at age 14, he was trained and worked as a blacksmith. Later in life, Jens Otto described his childhood in Denmark as being quite uneventful. Little did he know that his life was about to become a bit more exciting. At the age of 25, like so many young Danes in the late 19th century, Jens Otto decided to try his luck in America. Following the death of his father, he said goodbye to his home, family, and familiar surroundings. In March of 1889, he and a schoolmate, Thomas Nielsen Jersild, booked passage for America on the USS Denmark, bound for Minnesota. They departed from Copenhagen, but the journey to America didn't turn out quite as they anticipated. The Denmark's propeller shaft broke, and after limping along for a few days, the ship sank in the North Atlantic Ocean. Fortunately, everyone on board was saved and transferred to a nearby ship. But the passengers lost all their belongings. Jens Otto later recalled that even the suit he was wearing got wet during the rescue. After a detour to the Azores, Jens Otto and Thomas finally arrived in New York on May 6, 1889, a journey of 6 weeks instead of the expected 7 days. They spent the first 2 years in this country together, going to Alden, Minnesota, and Neenah, Wisconsin, where they probably stayed with Thomas's older brother, the Reverend Jens Nielsen Jersild. The two then parted company. Thomas started theological training in West Denmark, Wisconsin, and Jens Otto headed west. After a few years in Orem, Nebraska, Jens Otto moved to Omaha, where he worked as a coachman for a rich judge. However, he tired of the late nights, driving the young people of the house to and from parties, and moved north to Blair for a time. Around 1898, Jens Otto came here to Elkhorn. For 4 winters, he attended Elkhorn College and spent the summers working as a carpenter or farm laborer. He saved his money and soon was able to purchase property. Between 1905 and 1915, he bought several lots in the center of town. He built 2 houses next to each other on College Street, and then a general store on Main Street, the 10-cent store, which he opened in 1915. People remembered Jens Otto as being very generous, maybe even too generous to run a completely successful business. For example, when children bought candy from him, he would often fill their bags with more than they could hold. And long afterwards, children remember his words of caution when entering the store.
You can look, but you can't touch.
Even though Jens Otto had done very well for himself, he lost most of his savings when the local bank closed in 1931. He operated the 10-cent store for 18 years. In 1933, he decided to retire. He auctioned off the store and its contents, and in return for a place to live the rest of his life, deeded the lot on which Bedstemor's house is located for $1 to the newly established Salem Old People's Home, located in the very building where he had once attended college. In one of his many letters home to Denmark, he wrote,
"As far as I'm concerned, I have paid for the rest of my life, short or long, and also for my passing. my funeral. I live a carefree life. I read my books and magazines. I remember all the money that I lost when the bank closed its doors, but that can't be changed. Everyone lost money. I had hoped to share it and give my family a gift of money. After this loss, however, it was not to be.
During his time at the Salem Old People's Home, Jens Otto worked as the postmaster, delivering mail to his fellow residents. Jens Otto remained quite the character and was fondly remembered by many for, among other things, his obituary that appeared in the local paper 14 years prior to his death. As he put it, he was sure that people would be interested in reading it while he was still alive so they could discuss it with him. He ended his obituary with these words:
"The good days went all too soon. Now, old and gray and failing in strength, I am content to spend my remaining years at the comfortable Salem Old People's Home, awaiting the summons to the heavenly home. And when I earn that summons, my career here in America has been highly successful."
Jens Otto died on November 1st, 1949, at the age of 85, and was laid to rest in the Elkhorn Cemetery, not far from his old schoolmate and traveling companion from Denmark, Reverend Thomas Nielsen Gjersold.